Let me tell you something, man. The first time I sat down and really started learning about how Islam talks about justice, I had to stop, push my chair back, and just breathe for a second. 'Cause I ain't never seen a system, not in books, not in TV courtrooms, not in any modern setup we brag about that goes this deep into fairness. We talk about justice like it's some political slogan, something you put on a billboard or a campaign promise or a speech somebody reads off a teleprompter. But Islam treats justice like oxygen, like something that got to be there for a society to breathe at all. And the more I studied it, the more I felt like, man, if the world actually understood this, half our problems wouldn't even exist. See, what blew my mind wasn't just the rules. It was the attitude behind it, the mindset, the seriousness. Islam doesn't see justice as something you do when you feel like it. It sees it as a responsibility, a duty, something God Himself commands you to stand up for, even when it's against your own self, your own family, your own tribe, your own people. Now let me tell you something. That right there, that ain't normal. Humans don't naturally do that. We protect our people. We hide their mistakes. We cover up for them. We defend them even when they're wrong. But Islam flips that whole instinct upside down. It says if it's wrong, even if the one doing it is your brother, your sister, your mama, your leader, or even you. And that's why I sat up straight, because let's be real. The whole world loves justice until justice comes for them. Then suddenly everybody wants exceptions. Everybody wants loopholes. Everybody wants to negotiate. But Islam doesn't play that game. It doesn't say be fair unless you're rich. It doesn't say be fair unless he's your friend. It doesn't say be fair unless you don't like the person who's being wrong. Islam says justice is justice no matter who benefits, no matter who suffers, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. And man, I thought about our world today. I thought about headlines, scandals, corruption, broken systems, people with money escaping consequences, people without money getting crushed. And I said to myself, if folks actually live by this standard, do you know how many problems would fade overnight? But what really struck me was how Islam handles justice with a balance you don't see anywhere else. It's not cold. It's not robotic. It's not just a bunch of rules. It's justice mixed with mercy, accountability mixed with compassion, fairness that doesn't turn into cruelty. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, wasn't just strict. He wasn't just firm. He wasn't just a leader with authority. He was fair. He was balanced. He was protective of the vulnerable. You couldn't cheat an orphan. You couldn't lie in business. You couldn't take revenge on someone just because you had more power. That man walked around holding people to standards that would make half the world's leaders run out the back door. And what hit me hardest was this. Islam ties justice to God, not to human ego. That means you can't bend it for convenience. You can't twist it for personal gain. You can't adjust it because somebody's famous or popular. When justice comes from God, it ain't up for debate. And that does something to the human heart. It humbles you. It makes you think twice before you cheat someone, before you lie, before you betray someone, before you take advantage of someone. It puts this weight in your chest that whispers, you will answer for this. And let me tell you, that's the kind of accountability the world is missing today. I sat there thinking about how many times we've seen systems collapse because the rules weren't the same for everybody. How many times people have yelled for justice only to realize the system wasn't built to give it to them. And then I compared that to what I read, how Islam commands you to be fair, even to people you don't like, even to people who wronged you, even to people who stand on the opposite side of everything you believe. I thought this right here, this is mature. This is stable. This is what grown people, grown societies are supposed to look like. And the more I learned, the more I realized something. Justice in Islam isn't just about courts or punishments or laws. It's about culture. It's about the way people treat each other. It's about honesty in business. It's about not slandering. It's about not gossiping. It's about not backstabbing. It's about protecting people's rights, their money, their family, their dignity, their reputation. It's a whole lifestyle built around fairness. Man, the world ain't ready for how deep this goes. Because if people actually live like that truly consistently, the world would look completely different. And that's what made me say, hold up. I got to talk about this. Now, once I got past that first shock, that deep, heavy realization that Islam takes justice more seriously than a whole lot of folks on this earth, I started digging deeper. And the more I dug, the more I felt this weight in my chest. Like, man, this is the kind of system human beings been begging for. But nobody wants to practice because it requires honesty. And honesty, that's where everything gets real. See, one thing that hit me immediately was how Islam doesn't separate justice into categories. We do that in society. We got social justice, criminal justice, economic justice, family justice, racial justice, environmental justice. We break it down like we're choosing items off a menu. But Islam said, no sir. Justice is justice. It applies everywhere, in your house, in your business, in your marriage, in your community, in your country. You don't get to pick and choose where you want to be fair. You don't get to be righteous at home and corrupt at work. You don't get to be fair to strangers and cruel to family. Islam demands consistency. And brother, let me tell you, consistency is something this world struggles with every single day. And then I came across something that really made me sit back and shake my head. Islam doesn't allow favoritism, none, not even a little drop of it. We live in a world where people get away with murder literally because they know somebody. They got the right job. They got the right passport. They got the right bank account. But Islam shuts that whole door. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, once said, if his own daughter stole something, he would hold her accountable the same way as anybody else. Now listen, most leaders today won't even fire their cousin for being late to work. And here's a man saying he'd hold his own daughter to the same standard as any other person. That ain't normal. That's moral courage. That's integrity on a level the world barely understands anymore. But it doesn't stop there. Islam even calls people out if they try to twist justice for someone they love. It says you can't lie for them. You can't manipulate facts. You can't hide the truth. Even if the person you're defending is your friend. Even if they're part of your tribe. Even if you think it'll make you look loyal. Because Islam says loyalty to the truth is more important than loyalty to anybody else on earth. And man, if we brought that one principle into the modern world, half the corruption would disappear like dust in the wind. What moved me even more was how Islam protects people. Nobody else protects the vulnerable, the weak, the poor, the orphans, the immigrants, the employees under somebody's authority. Islam tells you outright, you wrong these people. You answer directly to God. There's no escaping it. You can't hide behind your status. You can't hide behind your reputation. You can't hide behind your excuses. Islam puts this shield over the powerless and dares the powerful to violate it. And if they do, ooh, buddy, they better be ready to answer for it, because Islam does not play about the oppressed. Not at all. And look, something else impressed me. Islam even cares about justice when nobody's watching. We in a world obsessed with public image. Folks want to look good, not be good. But Islam don't care what you look like. It cares who you are. It calls you to be fair in private when the cameras ain't rolling. When nobody's clapping. When doing the right thing won't get you a single like or compliment. Islam teaches that God sees everything. And knowing that keeps people straight in ways no security camera ever could. Then there's this whole thing about business. Man, Islam's rules about money, trade, contracts, honesty, that stuff is tight. You cheat someone, you lie in a deal, you hide a defect in something you're selling. Islam treats that like a serious offense. Not just bad manners, not just an unfortunate mistake, but a violation of justice. Because when you cheat someone financially, you're taking advantage of trust. And Islam puts trust on a sacred level. But here's where it gets even deeper. Islam doesn't want justice to turn into harshness. And that surprised me because I thought, okay, a system this serious is probably strict all the time. But no, Islam balances justice with mercy in a way that's almost poetic. Yes, you hold people accountable. Yes, you stand for fairness. But you also forgive when forgiveness is best. You show mercy when mercy will bring healing. You let go when letting go will make someone a better person. And I sat there thinking now that is maturity, because justice without mercy becomes cruelty. And mercy without justice becomes chaos. Islam walks right in the middle. Firm but compassion, strong but kind, clear but balanced. And the more I learn, the more I realize this ain't just a legal system. It's a moral system. It changes you. It elevates you. It forces you to examine your own heart. It makes you question the way you treat people, your kids, your spouse, your employees, your neighbors, strangers you will never see again. It makes you think, am I being fair? Because Islam doesn't let you off the hook just because you have power over someone. It says, if you can harm them easily, you will be questioned harder. And that right there made me think about the world today, where people with power act like they're untouchable. Islam says, no sir, God is watching. God is just, and God is not fooled by titles and suits. That shook me. Because if this mindset was global, if countries, leaders, companies, families live by that principle, the entire world would shift. Not slowly, not eventually, overnight. Let me tell y'all something real clear. Justice in Islam ain't just about courts and punishments. It's a whole way of living. Islam expects you to be fair in your home, your business, your friendships, everywhere. The Quran straight up tells Muslims to stand firm in justice, even if it goes against themselves, their family, or their loved ones. Man, that's a whole different standard. Most people are fair until it costs them something. Islam says, nope, be fair no matter what. And here's the part that blew my mind. Islam doesn't allow punishment based on gossip. You need solid evidence. You need witnesses. You need due process. Thousands of years ago, Islam already had rules that modern justice systems are still trying to perfect today. But what really impressed me is how Islam teaches justice in personal life. You can't cheat people, can't lie, can't humiliate anyone, can't take advantage of anyone weaker than you. Even a boss has to treat workers with dignity. A husband has responsibilities toward his wife. A leader has responsibilities toward the public. Islam makes justice a habit, something you practice every single day. And honestly, if more of the world lived by these principles, we'd wipe out half the corruption, cruelty, and inequality we see today. That's why I understand why Muslims say justice is one of the pillars of their society, because it really is built right into the core of the faith. Now here's the part that really made me respect Islam's idea of justice. It's not just about punishment. It's about accountability in front of God, and that changes everything. Because when you believe that every action, every word, every intention is being recorded, you stop doing wrong even when nobody's watching. Islam teaches that on the day of judgment, every human being, rich, poor, powerful, weak, will stand on the exact same ground. No VIP treatment, no special passes, no expensive lawyers, just you, your deeds, and the truth. And that alone creates a level of honesty the world desperately needs. But Islam also balances justice with mercy. Before punishment comes forgiveness, reconciliation, apology, compensation, anything that can repair the harm without destroying people. It's not a revenge-based system. It's a system built to keep society fair, safe, and clean. And let me say this, the more I learn, the more I realize how misunderstood this stuff is. People hear the word Sharia and freak out, but they don't even know what it means. Most of it is basic morals. Don't cheat. Don't steal. Don't lie. Don't oppress. Don't break promises. Don't harm people. Stuff the whole world actually agrees with. So when Muslims say the world needs Islamic justice, I get it now. They're talking about a world where people can't abuse power. A world where truth matters again. A world where the poor don't get crushed and the rich don't get away with anything. A world where everyone from the smallest person to the biggest leader is held to the same standard. And honestly, if we had that today, we live in a whole different,